I am dressed for the occasion for this episode of the Buzzable blog. Not because it's December, because it's March, but because I want to talk about the Santa Claus principle, or something I call social sampling. Word of mouth has become incredibly important for brands in the last 5 to 10 years. So those brands have begun to do much more sampling and trial programs recently, which is a great thing. What is also good is that they are no longer spreading those samples using sampling forces, giving those away in dark train station halls to people hurrying to their work. More and more they're using kind of specialized word-of-mouth spreaders like buzzers or like Facebook fans. So that's a great step. But there are ways to get even more out of those trial programs, those sampling programs. And that's what I call the Santa Claus principle. Because when you've selected a group of people that you would like to try out your product, these people are actually in a great position to sample their friends. They have a credible story to tell because they're not paid, they're not actors, and they know a lot about their friends. So they know which people would be interested to try out the product. So giving away more than one sample to those people, but actually giving them 15 or 20 samples to share with friends is a great move. Now, I know that a lot of marketers are worried that people would keep those samples for themselves. And this is where the Santa Claus principle kicks in. Because if you make it more interesting to give away something as Santa Claus and you get a reward for that, you're going to do that and you won't keep it for yourself. And the fact that you can give this to your friends and they will be thankful is pretty much all you need to do. But you can make it a little bit more sophisticated. And one thing is very simple. You can get them to wrap samples up like a small present, even if it's a small food thing or something else. You just give them something to package it in, like a small box or a special paper, and it will look nice and it will feel like they're giving away presents like Santa Claus. If you don't believe that, we've done this hundreds of times with our buzzers, and our buzzers were always crazy enough to package all the samples by themselves, and they actually liked doing that because they really felt like Santa Claus. So that's a great step to use that mechanism. The second thing that you can do is once you have this mechanism going on, you can add more value to it by putting something engaging in the middle, like a storytelling or a game mechanism that helps make that an even more interesting exercise. So one of the things that we did when we introduced a new fruit juice was that we gave our buzzers a small blind tasting kit, very simple. And our buzzers asked their friends if they were interested to try out a new fruit juice, and then they asked them, so I'm going to blindfold you, and then I'm going to ask you which types of fruit you are now tasting. So that's just one example, and it makes the whole experience more entertaining, and your consumers, your customers that you're asking to try out or sample other people will not just feel like Santa Claus, they will feel like Santa Claus and an entertainer, which is even more interesting. Plus the person who is trying the product will get some storytelling and know a little bit more about the product. So those are a few ways to apply these mechanisms to get even more out of your trial and sampling programs. And I really hope that you're going to try out and apply the Santa Claus principle to your trial programs. Thanks a lot.
Oh, the weather